Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be a complete, and I really do mean complete, guide to the Paris public transportation system, including the Paris Metro. Now, I will say I didn't come up with this video idea on my own. It was actually inspired by a consultation call that I had recently. I think that when you live somewhere for so long, you forget the initial challenges you had with navigating that same city. So thank you, Alex, for inspiring today's video. And if you yourself would like to book a consultation call with me, you can do that on my website, arielleinparis.com. I also have my guides on my website, and speaking of guides, before we get into today's video, I do have to say I need your help. I'm currently writing a guide for Fontainebleau, and it is the longest, most detailed and elaborate guide that I've ever written. And so I'm looking for two of you to receive this guide in advance to maybe give me some feedback, tell me if it's missing anything. I would love to know what you think before I put it for sale on my website. Literally everything I do, whether it's a video or a guide, I'm doing to help you guys on your trip. I do everything with you in mind. And so I just want to make sure that this guide is as perfect as it can be before I make it accessible to everyone. So if you're interested in testing the guide before I put it out, I would love it if you could send me a quick email to info@arielleinparis.com. Many thanks in advance. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. When it comes to the public transportation system in Paris, there are so many topics to cover, so I've divided today's video into the following chapters with timestamps so you can skip ahead as needed. Chapter 1 is going to be understanding the metro map. Here is what the metro map looks like. This is the version that you can find online, but I actually think that the printed version that you have in the metros is more useful. The metro is definitely going to be the most frequent method of public transportation that you use when you're traveling in Paris. And so when we're talking about Paris, I like to divide the city into a grid, and I'll show you how you can use this grid to identify key metro lines that'll come in handy to you later on. If we just look at a basic map of Paris and we first focus on the right side of the Seine, you can note the following. Line 1 runs through the center of Paris and will take you to a lot of main attractions like the Marais, the Louvre, the Tuileries Gardens, and the Arc de Triomphe. Next, we have line 9 that runs parallel to line 1 and takes you to places like the Upper Marais, the Palais Garnier, the Grand Boulevard, and Galeries Lafayette. Above line 9, you have line 2, which takes you through the north of Paris, namely Montmartre and Sacré-Cœur. These are the main 3 metro lines that take you across the right side of the Seine to major landmarks that you want to visit in Paris. Now, if we want to travel from south to north, we have another 2 metro lines. The first would be line 4, which, as you can see, takes you from the left bank of the Seine to the right, passing through Notre-Dame and the Marais all the way to the Gare du Nord train station. Next is line 12, which again takes you from the left bank of the Seine to the right, passing through the Tuileries Gardens, Place de la Concorde, and the Palais Garnier to get you to Montmartre and Sacré-Cœur. The left side of the Seine is going to be a little trickier in my opinion, and that's because you don't have a direct metro line that takes you from the east to the west. To show you what I mean, let's look at a couple of the main metro lines on the left bank of the Seine. Line 6, for example, does run through this side of the Seine, but further south than the majority of main attractions. The 6 will take you from Nation to Montparnasse train station and eventually the Eiffel Tower, but most places that you'll want to see on the left bank of the Seine are far from this line and closer to the Seine itself. Line 8 is handy because it does take you from the left bank to the right bank of the Seine, and it passes through major attractions such as the Eiffel Tower, Invalides, the Tuileries Gardens, the Palais Garnier, and the Marais, but it doesn't do a lot to help you with getting across the actual left side specifically. The final line that I want to highlight is line 10, which takes you through half of the left bank before veering more north following the Luxembourg Gardens. Now, you don't need to memorize this, that's not my objective at all. I'm just trying to get you familiarized with the metro map. That way you can understand how you can link different lines to get you where you need to go in Paris. The second chapter that I want to discuss today is figuring out which direction to take the metro in. Needless to say, every single metro line has a first and a last stop, but these 2 stops are also used to refer to which direction you're traveling in. To give you an example, here is Metro Line 1, which starts at the Château de Vincennes station and goes all the way to La Défense station. The direction that your train is going will always be either the first or last stop. If you are here in Paris and you want to take line 1 from the Louvre Museum to get to the Arc de Triomphe, which is located at the Charles de Gaulle Étoile metro station, then you're going to go in the direction of La Défense. Inversely, if you're at the Louvre and you want to go to the Gare de Lyon train station, then you'll take Metro Line 1 in the direction of Château de Vincennes. I mention this because when you're walking through the metro and looking at the signage, you always want to make sure that you're getting on the train that will take you in the right direction. You can see here, I'm at the Louvre metro stop and I'm waiting for the Metro Line 1 in the direction of La Défense. To me, as a local, I know this by heart, but if this is your first time taking the metro in Paris, then Google Maps does a really good job of telling you what metro to take and in which direction. So let's look at another practical example. Let's say that I'm at the Arc de Triomphe and I want to get to Montmartre. When I put this into Google Maps, the fastest way with the least amount of walking is to take Metro Line 1 and then 12. Remember our grid. I want to point out a few things here that'll help you navigate inside the Paris metro system using Google Maps. You can see that Google Maps is telling you to take Metro Line 1 from the stop Charles de Gaulle Étoile to Concorde, which is 4 stops away. Here, it says to follow the signs for Metro Line 1 Château de Vincennes, which is the direction that you need to take the metro in. At Concorde, you'll get off Line 1, remain in the metro station, but switch to Metro Line 12 in the direction of Metro Line 12 Aubervilliers. You'll ride the metro 7 stops and get off at Abbesse. Now there are metro stations like Abbesse where there's only one entrance and exit, so Google doesn't need to specify where you should get out, but there are other cases like Châtelet-les-Halles, for example, that have up to 19 entrances and exits. So when a metro station has many exits and entrances, Google Maps will tell you at the bottom which one you should use, like right here, for example. And if you're ever in doubt, you can also use the website Paris Way Out, which I'll leave linked down below, and you can refer to this to determine which exits or entrance will be the most efficient for you to use. Moving on to Chapter 3, which is what types of public transportation do you have access to in Paris? You, of course, have access to the metro as well as the bus that'll get you around the city of Paris, but you also have a few tram lines that take you around the exterior of the city. In the 18th, you also have the funiculaire, which is a fun way to get up Montmartre. Not necessary, but it's nice to know that you do have access to this with your metro ticket or pass. Finally, you have trains, which come in the form of RER trains as well as Transilien trains. You will use these, I can promise you that. You can take the RER-C, for example, to get to Versailles, or the Transilien R to get to Fontainebleau. What's important to note is that all of this is included within your metro ticket or pass. So let's move on to Chapter 4 and 5, where we'll discuss how you can purchase these tickets and passes, and what types of passes and tickets are available to you, including the price. Now, there are 2.5 ways that you can purchase a ticket in Paris, the first and easiest method being on your phone. You simply download the RATP app, make an account, buy the tickets or pass that you want, and then the app will give you the option to transfer your Metro card to your Apple Wallet so you can use your phone to beep through the public transportation system as opposed to a plastic card or a paper ticket. The second option is to have a plastic card and to load it with tickets or passes that you want. There are 2 cards available. The first one is for residents, people who live long-term in Paris, and this is called the Pass Navigo. The second card option is for tourists, for visitors, people who are in Paris for the short term, and this is called the Pass Navigo Easy. I'll refer to this as Easy for short. Each card is different and they both have different rates. The Easy Pass costs €2 for the plastic card alone and can be purchased at either a service desk or at the ticket machines you see in the metro stations. When you're going to buy your card and ticket for the first time at a machine, you'll select the option indicating that you don't already have a Navigo pass. From here, you'll be able to purchase the card and add on any tickets or passes that you want. You can note straight away that the machine informs you that the plastic card itself will cost €2. What's great about this system is that you can purchase up to 5 cards at once if you're not traveling solo. Here, for example, I'm buying 2 Navigo Easy cards and I'm loading onto each 2 metro tickets. You can see that I'm being charged €2 for each card as well as €5 for the tickets, as tickets themselves are €2.50, and I've purchased 2 to put on each card. Note that not all machines allow you to purchase this card. Here's an example of 2 machines side by side. The older machine on the right does not have the same distributor slot as the one on the left. This distributor slot is a hallmark of a machine where you can purchase the card from. The machine may also have this sticker signage to indicate that you can purchase a card. The Pass Navigo is much more complicated to get. You can either apply for it online or in person at one of the service desks in the metro. And in order to successfully get this card, you have to have a valid piece of ID as well as proof of residence. This could be an electricity bill with your name and address on it. This could be a lease. Either way, this card really is only reserved to residents of the city. Everybody else has to have the Pass Navigo Easy. I will say if you're coming to study here, if you're coming to live here long term or work in Paris, then it's much quicker to directly go to a service counter in one of the metros because they'll give you the card on the spot if you qualify for it. They'll take your picture, they'll put it on the card for you, and you can have access to those preferential rates right away when you land in the city, as opposed to paying for the higher rates with the Easy Pass. And I will just quickly clarify that the Pass Navigo is specific to you. It has your picture on it. It's not a card that you can exchange with a friend, whereas the Pass Navigo Easy isn't necessarily attributed to one person. It's just a card that you can reload and anybody can use it. Next, we'll talk about buying tickets and buying passes. But before we get into that, I do just want to mention the half method of the 2.5 methods that I was mentioning earlier, and that is paper metro tickets. Can you still buy them? Sometimes. Are they currently being phased out? Absolutely yes. I actually went to a service desk in one of the metro stations and tried to buy a paper ticket, and they straight up told me no, they're not available anymore. Now, I did try my luck at one of the older machines and I was able to buy a paper metro ticket, but honestly, I would just play it safe and keep my metro tickets and passes on either the plastic Navigo card or on my phone, because the paper tickets are 100% being phased out at the moment and they will not exist in the future. Now that said, let's talk about your ticket and pass options as well as how much they cost. Here's the picture of the pricing chart in the metro, starting with the Navigo Easy card, which again is what tourists and visitors use. There are two types of standard tickets that are available to you. First, you have the ticket for the metro and all trains, so the RER and the Transilien trains that we were talking about before, and this costs €2.50. The second ticket you have is for the bus and the tram, which costs €2. So to be clear, these are two independent tickets, and if your travel itinerary calls for you to take a train and then a bus, just know that you'll first have to buy a train ticket and then you'll have to purchase a second bus ticket. The next type of ticket that you can buy is to go to and from the airport, and this costs €13 one way. So that's it for tickets. Those are your only options. On top of tickets, you also have the option of buying a pass. You can either buy a 1-day pass all the way to a 5-day pass. And what I think is important to know about these passes is that they include absolutely everything from the metro to the bus to the tram to the RER to the Transilien, and also they include travel to and from the airport. A 1-day pass costs €20.90 and a 5-day pass costs €76.25. So if you're planning to use the metro a lot, then I would outright purchase the 5-day pass because it's significantly cheaper than buying multiple day passes. And to put that into perspective for you, €76.25 is roughly equal to 15 round trips. So unless you're planning on doing 15 round trips in 5 days, or you're planning on doing a lot of back and forth to the different airports in Paris, I don't necessarily think this is going to be beneficial to you. And honestly, I think that's going to be the case for most people who visit Paris, because Paris is by nature a very walkable city, especially if you group your days by area in Paris. You'll probably take the metro once to get somewhere, you'll spend your day walking around, and then you'll take the metro back to your Airbnb or hotel. So I don't think that it'll necessarily be worth it to you to buy like a full 5-day pass. That's a lot of metro, and I'm not sure you'll use it. Now, I am going to breeze over the Pass Navigo options and prices because I don't think it's going to be beneficial to most of you guys, because again, you do have to show proof of residency in Paris to access these rates. But if you are coming to Paris to work or to study or for a prolonged period of time where you'll have a mailing address, then you have access to these rates for a daily, weekly, monthly, or annual pass. And once you arrive in Paris, I would go straight to the nearest metro station with a service desk and request one ASAP, as the prices are far more beneficial. Now, that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you guys found this one interesting and helpful and clear. Please let me know down below in the comments if you have any other questions, and a huge thank you to Alex for inspiring today's video. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.